Hi, Sonia with the Inspired Pen, and I'm going to do a project share on this custom junk journal that I just finished. The order was for, and the challenge was for, a recipe book made junk journal style so that the customer could put all of her vintage recipes in. So that was the challenge that was set, and this is what is the product of that. I made sure it was a spiral binding so it lays flat. We have this really lovely chipboard piece on the front that's, vintage looking. I did a tag with, that says recipes. I did laminate this because this is fabric. So I laminated it in case anything gets spilled on it. It's easy to wipe off. This part sits above the lamination. So unfortunately, that was the only way that I could do the lamination because it's a really, thicker piece in there. So just a quick walkthrough here. So the inside cover is also laminated. That's the shininess in the video. I have these fantastic vintage magazines that I picked up at an estate sale, and I decided to decorate up because her one big request was that it had pockets in it. So I just thought to decorate those and add a little bit more of that nostalgia feel to it, that I would use some of the recipes and advertisements out of those magazines. The magazines that I've used were from 1928 and 1948, so definitely vintage. And I just really like the look and feel of that era in the advertising. And then if you read these, some of them are really funny, which I find just kind of fun to add into the junk journals. The pockets are made out of fabric, this really great, more vintage looking fabric. It is not vintage fabric, but it does kind of have that vintage feel to it and look. I used a lot of, let's see if I can get this in here a little bit better. I used a lot of the coffee and tea stain paper that I do and sell on Etsy. There's not a huge variation in the papers in this. I tried to stay with a vintage look throughout, so I tried to pick papers that looked vintage or that were my tea or coffee stained papers, just to stay with that vintage look. This is from a paper set I have that again has kind of that vintage look to it. I think it's really pretty and it really fits with the cookbook. I included some shorter pages in here for smaller recipes. Here's another one of those great pieces that came out of one of the magazines. This is from a 1948 farm journal. And it has this really great recipe that I'm hoping she'll be able to actually use. That is for a saucy apple cake. I think it sounds delicious. I probably should have copied that so I could make it. On the back side of that, I just covered up the parts that I didn't want to use, the parts that didn't have recipes in them or really cool food related advertising. So she can also use this portion for writing recipes or making notes or whatever she needs to use it for. So as we go through here, this one's a great one. One of those really great old Jello advertisements. And again, I just decorated up the backside of the pocket page just to give it more contrast. The pockets are sewn on to the paper, so they should hold up really well for her. And then we'll go through here, some more of that dyed paper, some more great advertisements. One of her requests was that it had roosters or chickens in it. So I picked out this really cool advertisement and then I just did just a plain sheet on the back to give it more stability, and then she can use this as an actual surface for her recipes. I'm not sure if she's planning on writing in here or if she has the recipes already on like old cards or something, but this will work for her purposes, I'm pretty sure. Another one of those great pocket pages. There are 5 of those in this book. I plan on doing more of these recipe books. I have a big craft fair that's coming up in June, and I think after talking to people at the last couple markets I did, there's really a want for this kind of junk journal because it is just really functional. Here's another great collage piece with a really fabulous recipe for cake and some frosting. So I'm really hoping that she likes it and she finds it really useful and enjoys this book overall. There's another great advertisement for a refrigerator. And that one's from the 1948 Farm Journal as well. And then another recipe, or another advertisement here. I don't know if anybody remembers hot rolls, but I think they had these out for quite a long time. My grandma used to tell me about them. They're this great mix. You just add the stuff and then get to work making your rolls. Then I made this one, just kind of a smaller, another smaller piece that she can use, but with this great advertisement. This was out of the 1928 Needlecraft magazine. You know, and it's baking related, so I just thought it would really lend itself to this book. Then I have this piece. I just did one small little part on here. It says Bon Appetit. I think you can see that with the glitter. It kind of shines right off of there, but it had this great enameled ware advertisement on the other side, and then a recipe for these eggs, and then some beet recipes here, which I just also thought it lent to that vintage feel that's going on in this book. And then we get all the way through it to the back cover, which is also fabric. It's done exactly like the front, except for it's just the fabric. And you can see it has that great farmhouse fabric that she was looking for with the chickens on it. And anyway, I think it turned out really, really, really beautiful. I am going to be making a bunch more of these. I don't know if I'm going to laminate the next ones I make, just because laminating fabric is really difficult to when you do this. It doesn't, I don't use hot laminate. I don't have a machine. So when you do cold lamination, it just doesn't want to stick to the fabric as well. But I think I might try it again and see how it works. But I will be making more of these and listing them in my Etsy shop, as well as having them ready for the markets and the craft fair that I'm getting ready for. And I just think it turned out really beautiful, and I hope she loves it. Thank you for watching. I'm happy to share the projects with you as I make them, and have a great day.